This is Laura GB, and in this video we're going to build a responsive app in Power Apps. So the first step is to do some planning. So I'm going to handle 4 different screen sizes. So here is our first one. Large and extra large are going to have the same screen layout. So we're going to have a title bar and a gallery down the side of people. We're doing a people searcher. And the 2 boxes are going to have bits of people information. The next size down from there is going to be the medium size. And in this one, we're going to move those 2 boxes on the right hand side underneath each other. Okay. Then the last size we're going to handle is the small size, your phone size. Okay. And this one, we're going to put the gallery as the only thing on that screen with a title bar. And we're going to put navigation on there that you can go to a second screen, which will have the 2 boxes on there that we're expecting. Okay, so this gives us our plan of our 3 different layouts to cope with the 4 different sizes that we're going to handle. So let's move on to creating an app. So here in Power Apps, I'm going to click on Canvas App from Blank, and I'm going to call it my People app, and I'm going to keep it to a tablet layout, and then I'm going to click Create. And let's skip that, and here we are in our app. So we've got a couple of things we've got to change first before we start. So I'm going to go to the File tab, and we're going to go into Settings. And I'm going to click on Size and Orientation, and then scroll down a bit. So this is where it picks the different kind of sizes we could go for. You could pick all sorts of things, and you'll see they're different sizes, different ratios, etc. But actually what I'm going to go for is I'm going to go for Scale to Fit. I'm going to turn that off. And then we're going to come down to here, and we're going to click Apply. And that will update your existing screens. That apply button I have forgotten to press so many times. So that's the important part. Then I'm going to go to Advanced Settings. Now I'm going to turn on a feature, which admittedly is an experimental feature, but it's a really useful one for what we're about to do. So I'm going to turn on Container Control. Okay. So we've done those 2 parts. We're going to go back into our app. Now, in the slides I had up a moment ago, we had our 4 sizes. Now, let me just explain how we're going to decide on what those 4 sizes are. So if I click on App and the drop down of the different properties, you'll see that there is a size breakpoints. And this is just a little table of data. So I have got, so anything 600 and below is going to be small. Anything between 600 and 900 will be medium. Anything between 900 and 1200 will be large. And anything above 1200 will be extra large. Okay? So we don't have to make that calculation every single time we do anything. We're going to add a label as our very first thing. Okay? Now, I can't do this as a variable because I want this to recalculate as my screen resizes. So I'm going to put in a label to do this one, and I'm going to insert a label, and it's not letting me. How weird. I'm going to go to Insert. I didn't have the screen selected. Don't have the app selected. Make sure you have a screen selected. There's a new thing we've learned today. So we're going to add in a text label, and I'm going to pop it in the bottom left hand corner. We're going to hide it eventually, but for debugging purposes, we're going to put it here. Now, the value that's going to go into that formula, let me expand that out a bit. I am going to copy and paste in some code. This code will be in the blog post that supports this video. So let's walk through this calculation. We're using an if. The first test is it less than or equal to the smallest break size, so the first one, okay, at breakpoints, and therefore it's small. Now this last and first n and 2 gets you the second value, okay? It's a bit of a bizarre pattern, but once you got used to that concept, it's quite a useful one. And then I do the same for the third. So that gives me my different screen sizes. So, and sure enough, down there it says currently my screen is extra large. Now, screen sizing. Okay, let's have a quick look at that. So I'm going to make sure I've got the screen selected. I'll do some renaming in a moment. The screen selected, and over here I've got my screen 1 and my advanced. Okay, so I'm going to click on advanced and scroll down. Now you'll see that there is a height, and if I click more options, there is also a width. If I click on height to bring it up into the formula bar. Now the default here is they're expecting you to go mobile first and to have picked a phone app and then laid out the phone app and expand out to a bigger if they've got a bigger screen. I can't get my head around that as a concept because I need to lay things out big and then work out how they're going to be small. That's how I've done web design for a long time. So I'm actually going to change this formula to not be the maximum of these two, but to go back to being the app height. Okay, and I'm going to change the width to be the app width. Okay, now before we prove that that's working and publish it, etc., I want to do a couple of things. Let's firstly do some quick renames. So this is going to be the main screen. And this one here, I need this to be named in such a way that I can find it quickly. So I'm going to call it app screen size. Just so I can find it and remember what it's called. There isn't anything else called, well, there's the app, and this is the only other one that uses app. And so then we're going to add in our first container. So let's put that in. Let's put in my, if I scroll down in the inputs, there you are. There's a container. So now we need to have a look at the properties of that container, and let's do a couple of things. Let's make it in the top left hand corner, so X and Y are 0. The width, okay, now I want to make this the size of whatever the size the screen is. So, and the screen is the parent, so we're going to do an awful lot of parent.widths. And if you remember to type on it, click on it early, parent.width comes up quite quickly on width. But I always forget and end up typing the whole thing. And then height. So I'm not going to make this a responsive height. I'm going to take this down to just be 80. Okay, to go across the top of my app. We'll think about whether we need that to be responsive when we have a look at the mobile version. So I am then going to, inside that container, I'm going to put a text label. And when you drag, do you see you can, that's the whole screen, and that's putting it inside the container. And this one, I'm going to change the properties on this as well. So just scroll down that for a second. So so these are the dimensions inside the container. So 0, 0, we'll put it in the top left hand corner of the container. And my width, it's going to be parent. Now I'm going to remember this time. I'm going to click on parent.width before I finish typing parent. And then height. I am also going to make the size of that one there. And then let's just go and do some quick formatting. Okay, so there's some formatting done, and let's then just change the text. So I'm going to come into here, and I'm going to change the text to be my app screen size dot text ampersand app. Let's make it happy about that dot text. There we go. And so there we are, it's an extra large app. Right. So I think we're at a point at which we can demo. So let's go for a file, save. Okay, first save, you don't have to publish, which is slightly bizarre. But anyway, let's now go to my apps. And there we are, there's my people app. Let's click on there. And there you are, I've got my extra large app. Now, if I go and click on minimize the window a little bit, it's still extra large, and I'm just going to reduce the width. So there you are, it's now a large app. It's now a medium app. And you see the title is still center. And now it's a small app. Now there is a minimum size. It won't let me go smaller than that, which is fine because that's probably smaller than a phone width. Okay, let's maximize that back up. So that is step 1 done. So back into our app. Let's do some quick renaming that we didn't do last time. So I'm just going to call this main title. Let's move my cursor. Title container. And I'm going to then rename that label to be main title label. Okay, right. The next part, we're going to add we're going to work on the other containers now. So let's go and put in the easiest one. The easiest one is the one on the left hand side. So I am going to go for a container. And I have the other container selected. That's a wrong thing to do. Let's not do that. Make sure you have the screen selected. Okay. And then add in a container. We include most of the faults in this one. So there we are. There's a container. Okay, right. We now need to position it. So let's go through the position things over here on the right. So the X is going to still be 0. The Y. Right, let's put that into the formula bar. So the Y is going to be based off the title at the top there. So we're going to make it based off the main title container dot, and if we make it the height, it'll fit just snugly underneath. Okay, then let's worry about the height. The width we're going to do in a second. So the height, this one is, let's make it the height of the screen, and that's the parent. So there we are, parent.height minus, because you see it falls off the bottom of the screen, minus the main title. Now if you start to type in container, that gives you your main title container. So find different ways to search for things in your text, and your naming convention should make your searching easier. Okay, so main title dot title container dot height. So that deals with it fitting in nice snugly into there. So if the title becomes taller, should we decide to resize that in any way, this box will resize with it. Now the width. The width is going to be based off what app screen size we're at. So let's expand that a little bit and let's put it in an if. So there are two situations. The first, let's not do an if. Thinking about it, let's do a switch. That's better. Switch. We'll do lots of switches based very similar on this. So they're all going to be based off my app.screen size and the text in there. Okay. Now switch works off that it goes for the switch value, and then we've got a match value and the result from that. Okay, so the first, so if it's a small screen, if you remember in the small screen design, it's going to be the complete width of the screen. So that is going to be parent.width. Now, if it's anything else other than small, I want it to be a fixed width. And so I'm going to go into there for 350. Okay, so I'm currently on an extra large screen, so therefore it's going to go for 350. And I'm going to just make it so that this is easy to have a look at later. Obviously this isn't the final design, but I'm just going to do a quick colour for that container. So under the colour, following the same kind of colour conventions I had in the presentation earlier, we're going to make this a orangey colour. Okay, so that's the left hand side orange colour for my app for the left hand side. So let's add in another container. Okay, so this, let's go into input and let's make it another container. Now this one, I want to fill up the rest of the screen. Okay, so, and I'm then going to put my two containers inside it. So the rest of the screen, let's go with working out what X is going to be. So X is going to be the width of my previous container, which I've just realised I haven't renamed. So let's go and rename that for a second. I'm going to rename container 5 to be my people selector container. And I'm then going to make number 6 called my people info container. Okay, so now let's go back into my people info container and worry about X again. Right, X needs to be my people selector container dot width. Okay, it moves over, it fits in nicely. And then I'm going to put in the Y to be, so we want it just below that title bar, so it's going to be just the same as the people selector. Going to make that the main title container dot height. Okay, so there we are, it fits across there. Then we're going to make it fit the rest of the screen. So the width is going to be the parent dot width minus the people selector dot width. Okay, so that fits the whole screen. And then we're going to do exactly the same with height. See, there's a pattern you kind of get your head round. It kind of works eventually. You get your head there, but eventually parent.height minus the main title container dot height. There we go. And let's colour that a colour. So let's go with, I'm going to go with a very pale blue. Okay, we'll put some containers inside this container in a moment. But what I just want to do is I want to save. So let's put in some comments. Added people containers. And then let's click publish. And then let's go back into here. Let's do a refresh. And click on my app. And there we are. We've got our different colour screens there. And let's change screen size. So there we are. We've gone down to the small app. And we can't see our blue thing at all. And then let's expand out to be the medium. And there we are. It appears. And we can go back up through our large app. And through our, all the way out to the extra large app. So that appears to work. Possibly the medium needs some tweaking, but for the time being, that works, right? Right, let's go back and back into my app. And I'm going to pick my people info container. And into there, I am going to let's make this a bit. Let's maximize it up again, and let's insert 2 containers. So this is going to be called. Right. Let's think about how this one's going to work. Okay. So this is it's because we'll be able to copy this container and then do to make the other container. So I'm going to firstly. This one is going to be starting in the top left hand corner, so 0 0 for the Y. So now let's do the width. Okay, so I'm going to click on width, expand that up. So the width is going to be one of those switch statements again. So switch, let's spell it right, really can't spell today. And let's go for the value we're going to be testing it on is going to be my app screen size, dot text. And then we're going to go for, so if it's small, we really don't give a monkeys. We're just going to make it 0 because that makes sense. If it's medium, okay, we want it to be the width of the people info container, which is its parent. So put a comma in, Laura. So it's going to be parent dot width. Okay. If it's large or extra large, we want it to be half of the people info container. So that is going to be parent dot width divided by 2. Right? So that deals with the 3 different widths we want it to be, right? I'm going to make the height to be a fixed value of 300. Now I'm going to duplicate this people container. So into here, I wonder if I can copy, pick the one above, 3 dots, and put paste. And there we are. We get our 2 containers, right? And this second container, I am going to call the people2 container, right? This one is, the width is a calculation that I like. The height, I'm going to leave at 300. The X, this is the next little bit of the switch. So, we're going to put into here a switch again, and it's going to be based off app screen size dot text. So this is the X value. Okay, so if it is medium, it's going to be at 0 because it's going to start on the left hand side. It's going to be down a bit, but it's going to start on the left hand side. Okay, if it's anything else, right, I want it to be halfway across this screen. So it's going to be parent dot width divided by 2. Okay, so that puts it next to it, right? So that deals with the X. Now we need to deal with the Y, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that part, and I'm going to go to Y, because actually these are the 2 conditions we need to cope with. Let's expand out that formula bar. Right, so it's completely in the wrong place at the moment, but anyway, if it's, so this is the Y value. So if it's medium, I want it to be just underneath the other one. So instead of 0, we're going to go with people1 container dot height. And if it's not, so it's any other width, so small, large or extra large, we want it to be 0. Okay, so there we are. We've got the 2 containers. Now, to make it so that we can see what's happening when we do our little demo in a moment, we're just going to do some quick colouring. So that one there, now can I remember what the colours were that I picked? No, I can't. So I'm going to go with, let's make that one a green kind of colour, and let's make that one a purple kind of colour, because hey, I do colours. But there we go. So what we've got is we've got our things there. Hopefully they will all move right. Let's see if I've got the calculations right. So we're going to go for File, Save, and Publish. Back to my list of apps, and just do a quick refresh and open up my app. So there we are. We've got my extra large app, and if I come back into here, there we are. It's still extra large. Let's change the width. So large, it stays like that. Medium, there we are. It jumps down. And then small, it all becomes yellow. So there's a jump there. There's a jump there. And there's a jump there. Right? Okay. So that's all working. So that is the very basics of a responsive app. Okay. Now I'm going to carry on and add some extra features into here just to give you some other ideas. Okay. So this next little bit of design work, I'm going to speed up. So that you don't have to watch me put all these things in. So I've added in a search box, and I've added in a gallery that's based off that search box, including an Office 365 connection. And then I've added in some extra parts into here regarding someone's name, and a photo of them. Let me just quickly show you the published version. So let's just quickly go and publish. So let's save and publish, and then let's go into here, do a quick refresh, and go into the app. So it shows you a list of people from my fictitious company. So I'm going to put into here, I'm going to put in let's look for Mike, because I've got a photo for Mike. So there is Mike Murray, and his photo's there. Now this isn't quite perfect, but it gives you some ideas. So there we are, the small version. We get a navigate button, which will take us to another screen once we finish the app. And then if I expand out, there we are, there's a photo of Mike Murray. So at this point, the point at which it just jumps to a large app, the individual ones are actually quite small, so the photo becomes larger, fills it more, and we put the name underneath. The height's not quite right, but hey, we can work on that. This is a first draft. As it gets larger, it sorts itself out, and that photo gets bigger as we go. Okay, so there's just a couple of things in there. If I just quickly go and show you the name of the person, the height of it is based on whether the parent is less than 300. So I decided 300 was the kind of the point at which the width of that was too small to show the photo and name next to each other. Okay, so I put in lots of different parts into there. I also, in the gallery, okay, the next arrow, which is a little arrow here, the visible is set to whether it's small or not. So it only shows when it's small. Okay, so there are lots of things like that you can go through, and you can make some decisions based on where things are put, where things are going, and how that works. Okay, so this is just a really simple example. I will download this app once I've tidied it up a little bit, and make it available to everybody. I'd love to know what you think. So please put some comments in below, ask questions below, and we'll see if we can get them answered. If I can't answer them, I'll ask Microsoft. Let's be honest. And so that was my responsive app. in Power Apps. No doubt there will be future videos. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. Take care now.